in that one, I thought I had smashed my previous score, so I was happy. And Luke asked me the question, which is, I'm not blaming you whatsoever. This is entirely on me, but giving me the option of like, do you want to try the next one? No was the answer. I didn't want to try the next one, but I probably could have done a bit of work. I'm not saying I would have completed all 3 minutes of it, but in terms of going to absolute failure, I should have restarted the second interval of 70 and gone until I actually couldn't hold the wattage. That would have been the right way for me to go through the test, which also potentially explains why I didn't stretch that VO2 to absolute failure. The other point to note is that in the first test, I threw up afterwards. In the second test, I didn't. So that suggests that
I was disappear
probably, though. Yeah, I thought about it. I went to make a prayer to the porcelain god. But yeah, nothing. There was no purge. So
it is interesting though. Sorry, just on that, the fact that you chose not to go, because I'm not going to say there's a pattern, because on the very first one you did, you blamed Luke as well, because you said Luke said something and you thought, oh, I'm done now, and then you tapped out there.
Exactly.
But
it is a pattern.
It's funny that because in the middle one, so the first one at the start of this, obviously you didn't get that option, so you just knew you had to go in. So it just shows that it's not always about performance. It is just that it's the influence, and that's not nothing against Luke or anything. It's like, it shows that there's so many factors to achieving a number beyond just what you can do. Because if there was someone else next to you doing the same test, you're going to have that little bit more urge to push or hold in that little bit longer and stuff. And that's why in competition, it's amazing that next level you can go to, because you can lift that extra bit of weight or hold on to it for a little bit more. So it's a very fascinating study that you chose to pull out in the rest.
Yeah, I think it's a really important point, actually, because the psychology of pushing to failure, it is really tough. It is really uncomfortable. And the common theme between the first and the third test, where I thought I had succeeded. So my target for the first test was to get over 50, and Luke called out 50 because I hit that as my peak, but I didn't hold it long enough for it to actually be my score. So I thought I'd done it, and I was like, right, I'm happy with this now. I can leave it. And in this test, I knew I'd smashed the power output and performance side of things, because I know I did the whole interval at 70. So I thought I was well ahead. And Luke's a super encouraging coach when you're doing something like this. There's loads of positive chat. So I was thinking, I've absolutely nailed this. Like, the data must be amazing based on what he's saying. And then when I was offered the option of ending in the interval, I was like, yeah, I feel like I've pushed myself hard. I think I've already succeeded. So knowing that I've got this 30 seconds max effort to come, my psychology was that I'd rather save a bit. Yeah, exactly. Whereas had that not been on the table, I probably wouldn't have done it. And that's, no criticism of Luke in any sense.
Well,
but it's
for me, I think I need to explain why that option was on the table in the first place.
Please do.
Well,
please do.
And
this
it
is
was
the self-defense, right?
It's one of those things where, like, I have the luxury of in front of me seeing the data, right? Seeing the trends in blood flow, seeing the trends in oxygen desaturation, seeing the trends in VO2 as well. And ultimately, in that last interval, your VO2 peaked about halfway through it in that 3 minutes that you got through, and then it just sort of stayed, it plateaued essentially. And so if that was still rising all the way through those 3 minutes, there's no way I'd have given you the option to tap out, because it was still going up. So it was one of those where it's like, hey, there's probably more in the tank, let's see if we can take it a little bit higher in the next one. But the fact that it had kind of plateaued, breathing frequency had spiked as well, so it was almost kind of like a hyperventilation situation.
You read the signs, you already knew what was coming, because obviously Ash was in the thing. Because I think this is, as you say, that this is a really important point, because I remember from coaching and stuff, or even with clients, and when they're going up in weight. So I had a prime example the other day with my client. He was bench pressing, and so he wanted to hit a certain number, and say he was at 97 kilos and grinded it out, right? And he wanted to hit, he said, if I hit 100 for the day, I'll be happy, right? But he goes 97 kilos, and he grinded it out. So in my head, I know he's not going to get much more than 97, because once the bar path starts to slow down, so you just know. And he goes, right, I'll go 102. And I was like, okay, so then it's like already he's gone above his 100, and he said, oh, 102. So I was like, okay, cool. So I took the weight, so I started to put 100 on. I said, you want 102, yeah? And he goes, yeah. I was like, Okay. So as well, because I knew I was there, put it on, and again, it's that thing. I gave him the option, but I saw the signs. I already knew he wasn't going to hit it, and if he did, he blew my mind. But he didn't, and that was a thing. And but this is exactly that. So that's from strength training to that. As you said, I can read the results as they're coming because I'm not the one in the thick of it. And with Ash being in the thick of that and having the option, he's like, I probably can't get much more out. Yeah, fuck it. I'm not going to do it. And then because I've got the 30 seconds to still do it at the end. So it's interesting.
So the difference between Rob and Luke is that Rob will let you. As
long as you don't hurt yourself.